What's up, everyone? It is Dan here, and welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about how we got this $650 Dyson V10 Animal for free. Stay tuned to find out how. A relatively high-end $650 Dyson vacuum for free? How does that work? Well, the Dyson V10 series, and others like it, were designed with a slightly less than durable trigger mechanism, which ultimately leads to their failure. This results in the vacuum either not turning on at all when you pull the trigger, and occasionally not turning off when you let go of the trigger. Well, those that are either not aware that you can repair it, or simply don't want to go through the hassle, throw out an otherwise good vacuum. That's exactly what our neighbors did. The vacuum motor works great, the batteries are in pretty good condition, but to be fair to our neighbors, the vacuum is frustrating to use with a broken trigger like this. So I purchased a reinforced replacement trigger on Amazon for about $11, which I'll include a link to in the description down below, and then I'm going to show you all how to do the repair yourself. Let's get to it. This is a fairly easy repair to do yourself. So I've already got the new trigger here, and I'll show you when I get the old trigger out, but this one contains an extra rib, if you will, to increase its strength. So you'll see these triggers, the originals, pretty commonly break in this area. So let's go ahead and take this apart, and we'll take a look. So first things first, remove the filter. Then we're going to remove the battery. There is a screw back here. And then there are two screws underneath. These are all Phillips, by the way. And that allows you to remove the battery pack. We'll set that aside. We don't need that anymore. Now, we're going to go ahead and remove the canister as well. If you have one of these, you probably already know how to do this. But you push up on this red part, and then the whole canister will slide forward until the port opens up, and that's how you empty it. But then, if you turn it upside down and you push this little tab here, then you can pull the canister off entirely. Okay, next up, we have two screws that we need to remove here on either side, 1 and 2. And then, you probably won't be able to see them on camera, but inside these 4 holes there are screws that need to come out as well. And you're going to need a long bit like this. So we'll go ahead and remove those. Okay, next up from here, we need to remove these two. These are T8 Torx. Torx looks like that. It's like a star shape. Okay, next up you need to remove this white plate. There are a couple of tabs. You can see a raised part here. you need to stick a flathead screwdriver under that and pop those off. Now that you've removed the white plate, this little black connector, if you just push it, it pops out like that. And now there are 2 more Torx screws right there, so we need to remove those. Okay, next up we need to remove this little wire, this white connector. It just pops off. Just like that. And as you can see, there's a lot of dust coming out, so while you've got it apart, now might be a good time to clean this out, get all that dust. Okay, the last thing we need to do, these tabs, we need to bend them straight. So as you'll see in just a minute, we can pull the wires through. And now this whole piece just slides off like that. So you can see here's that opening where those wires were. And if those tabs were still bent, it would not have slid out. Okay, now we've got 2 more screws. Okay, now we can pop this piece off. Okay, there is 1 more screw. Let me grab a flashlight here and see if I can show you all. There you go, yeah. There's 1 more Torx screw down in there. And now we can pull this trigger assembly out. You should be able to just grab one of these tabs with a pair of pliers and pull it out. There you have it. Okay, so this trigger actually failed in a different location than I was expecting. So I was expecting the crack to be here, but you can actually see a little light spot. That's a stress fracture. And you can actually see, actually let me remove the trigger. You can actually see this flexes quite a bit. So what the trigger does is when you pull it, it pushes this down, which engages the battery. But of course, if this is flexing, when you push down, it might not always push the battery, or it might not always push the button down. It also flexes quite a bit this way, that might be part of the reason that the switch doesn't always disengage correctly. So I am going to install the new one that I purchased here, and we'll see how the vacuum does. To put the switch back on, the holes in the switch here, they just pop onto these little spots. Like that. And then the spring here goes like that. So the button on the battery is right here, and when you push down on the button or the trigger, it engages that button on the battery. Okay, time to start putting it together. Basically, we just do everything we did except in reverse. So you need to feed those wires up through this hole here. Try to bend these wires a little bit more straight, so hopefully like that, except now that little wire's not coming through. There you go. There he is. Okay. Everything nice and straight. There we go. Okay, I'm going to replace the screw that holds the trigger assembly in place. Okay, now we need to feed these wires back through this little guy. This is pretty tough to do, and pretty much you just need to grab the wires and pull really hard. And they will pop on through. There we go. And we can lock that piece back into place. And then replace the screws. So the screws that go in there are the Torx. They're the short ones, and they do not have the washer. So this one you can see has a little washer on it. We want the ones without the washer. Okay, now we can replace the motor. This slides through, and remember, the wires need to go through this little tunnel, if you will. And now we can pop this little wire back into place. That little connector, you just push it down and it'll snap back into place. And then we need to reconnect the battery wires. So we'll bend these tabs back how they were before. And then we can replace the screws. And this time we're going to be using the Torx screws with the little washer on it. Make sure these wires are not touching each other. So you want to make sure the metal from the tabs on these wires are not at risk of touching each other. Otherwise you'll get a short circuit and that would be bad. Okay, now we can snap this white plate back in. So this, you just push back into place, and then recall these little tabs will snap back into place as well. Okay, now we can replace the screws that hold this white plate into place. Okay, now at this point we can actually put the filter on and then temporarily put the battery back into place so we can test our switch to make sure it works. Looks perfect. Okay, all that's left is to replace this piece now. Alright, so there you have it. A free vacuum out of the neighbor's trash and an $11 replacement part, and this thing works like it's practically brand new. It's not uncommon to find these things either in the trash or being given away for free on Facebook Marketplace or Nextdoor, and so there's a pretty decent chance that you too could do the same. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or you found it useful, please show your support by clicking that like button down below, and maybe even consider subscribing to our channel. Let us know down in the comments if you were able to pull this off yourself, and we'll catch you on another episode very soon. Bye-bye!